Massive trade update for the Broncos. They are in position for a blockbuster deal. A new report is coming out that the Saints are looking to be on a very soon fire sale for some of their star players, and the Broncos, with ties with Sean Payton, are looking to upgrade their offense so they can be really truly competing not just for the AFC West, but go for a deep playoff run and a Super Bowl. I'm Sebastian with the Broncos Digest. Welcome back, everybody. Midweek, we're getting ready for the Cowboys game. Very interesting vibes around this game. Worst defense in the league versus a okay offense probably with the Broncos, but then the best offense in the league versus the best defense in the league, a lot would say. So very exciting. I know I've mentioned it before. Most people would take the best defensive team over the best offense. Unfortunately, Broncos, we've had a little bit of an experience of that in some of the bigger games. But I won't mention that one because we all know what we're talking about. Anyway, we're talking about a trade here because it was actually brought up by Mile High Report and some other pundits, and I was really interested in exploring this one in particular because we've talked about Jalen Waddle from Miami, and while that would be cool to get that, it's still unsure what the Dolphins are doing with their franchise right now. I'm still not ruling that one out. But this one really intrigued me, and I'm really excited to kind of talk about it. Make sure to subscribe, all that stuff, guys. Really want to keep building what we have here. We passed 500, but we want to keep building to get to 1,000 and start doing more streams and more really cool stuff for this channel. But anyway, let's just jump right into it because there's a lot to talk about here. We're talking about none other than Chris Olave. Jonathan Jones from CBS Sports said, "I put together some trade intel Monday, but I want to add a few things to it that I've learned in the days since. Perhaps the biggest contender for a receiver is not the Steelers, but instead the Broncos. Courtland Sutton is 30 years old and just signed a 4-year extension with an out after next season. Denver has all of its picks through the 5th round and added a 4th from the Saints in the preseason. So this is really interesting to see that, okay, all of a sudden the Broncos are in position to really do something before the trade deadline on November 4th. And I'm really excited about exploring why Olave is a good fit. I mean, obviously the tie between Sean Payton and New Orleans, but at the same time, listen, Marvin Mims came up really clutch in that Giants game, and Troy Franklin has come up in really great spots as well. But we do not have a consistent number 2. We have and even our number 1 with Courtland Sutton, he's fantastic in so many different spots, but it's just there is no consistency. I think the talent is a bit lacking in the receiver room. There's a lot of guys who are doing their best to follow the scheme that Sean Payton has put forth, but at the same time, talent-wise, we still feel like, is this the team that's really going to take us over the top? Are we, we don't have a Demaryius Thomas. We don't have, some of these like really elite playmakers that our quarterback can utilize. And a lot of it may be just me coming down to like, can Bo Nix get over this hump? Get over really bad stretches of quarters of play, and maybe it's not a receiver problem. I'm starting to just considering the lack of production, man. Is it really all on Bo? And just considering what we saw in the 4th quarter, I'm not so sure that this is a Bo Nix problem, and I'm sure there's a lot of debate about that. There is. But I'm not convinced because the talent is there, the reading is there, the clutchness is there. He has overthrowing problems, absolutely, but mid-range and short range, he gets the ball where it needs to be, and so that's what's so confusing about this whole situation. So a talent like this, where listen, he has injury concerns, absolutely, which would probably decrease the amount that we would have to spend to go get him because he was a first-round pick when he was selected. But yeah, Jordan Schultz says the 2 wide receivers in New Orleans, Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, are being monitored by wide receiver needy teams ahead of the trade deadline, per sources. Both are set to become free agents after the season. I do believe Olave was his 5th year was picked up, so 2 more years for Olave. But they share the same representation, so whoever the Broncos would look to go after, they would talk to that same agent. It's interesting because we sent Vele to the Saints as well, so we have trade history with them. Scotty Payne from Mile High Report had to say, veteran wide receiver Courtland Sutton is having a really good year and continues to be Nix's top and most trusted target. However, after Sutton, things get a bit more murky. Both Marvin Mims Jr. and Troy Franklin have flash potential this season, but neither has really stepped up as a trusted number 2 target behind Sutton. So, adding an established veteran who can step in and be that trusted number 2 option would be ideal. And I do think that this is very important to remember, is that teams that only have like truly one really good, reliable receiver, and a receiver that we haven't really even seen perform in high stakes playoff situations, that makes people nervous. That makes fans like me nervous. Like a lot of teams that win the Super Bowl, like the Eagles last year, they have 2 really amazing targets in their wide receivers 1 and 2 with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, both contributing to that Super Bowl win with touchdowns of their own, and did a lot of great things in the playoffs. Obviously, Saquon was a major part of that offense as well. But you have to surround your guy with elite talent if you want to have elite performances in elite moments like the playoffs. And so, listen, it's a now or never. Bo Nix at some point with the Broncos is very likely going to be extended, and will be having to work with, big time quarterback contract rather than, listen, we're getting out of the Russell Wilson era and leaving that contract behind very soon. Let's utilize this time to really get as many playmakers as we can around this rookie contract quarterback. So that's kind of the idea around this philosophy. John Seigler from Saints Wire had to say, it would have to take a great haul for the Saints to move Olave. You can throw out those pick swap suggestions from fans that have Olave going somewhere with a 4th-round pick in exchange for a 3rd-rounder. When we explored different trade packages for him a month ago, we were seeking a combination of a 2nd and a 4th-round pick. That isn't the same thing as a 1st-rounder, but teams worried about Olave's injury history may balk at that. So that's kind of the interesting aspect of this conversation, is that Olave, with his concussions that he has suffered multiple times, has made folks worried. Okay, we don't know if he can play a full season. We don't know how available he's going to be. So it's not worth a 1st-round pick to send for him, even though he has some really good stats and he has some really good production here. And because right now he's the number 1 in New Orleans, if he's able to be, a number 2, not as much pressure on him and as much coverage, then things get a little bit more interesting. So if he can stay healthy, his production might even skyrocket, weirdly enough, just depending on how the Broncos would be able to utilize his talents. Then Scotty Payne from Mile High Report he continued on by saying, he's just 25 years old. He has another year left on his contract, and he is a very productive wide receiver. Sure, he does have concussion concerns, but the talent is hard to deny. On the year, Olave already has 44 receptions for 440 yards and 3 touchdowns. I think he would be a perfect number 2 behind Sutton and would instantly improve the Broncos' offense. And that's not just trying to hype up a guy so we can, get the fans behind this trade idea. I do think that Olave is easily the Saints' best receiver since Michael. Oh my gosh. Anyway, their last Michael Thomas, their last great wide receiver, who was there with Sean Payton, and then his career ended because of injuries. It's unfortunate. So maybe he just needs to get out of New Orleans to avoid this injury plague that stops their receivers from reaching, Hall of Fame statuses and stuff like that. So anyway, I do think Sean would have a really good game plan for Olave. The more weapons you have, it's not necessarily, I don't know what to do with all these weapons. It's just the talent, man. Like, Troy Franklin was taken in the 4th round, and we're not even sure if he would have been taken that high otherwise because of his camaraderie with Bo Nix, that connection. But that connection's only working in the short game and the medium routes. They're not connecting on the deep balls. The one deep ball they had was in the playoff game against the Bills, and that was our only score of the day. So it's just one of these things that we need to be able to stretch the field. The teams are not scared of our deep ball right now because Bo does not have the talent to be reaching guys downfield, or Bo does not have the talent at wide receiver, and he also has to work on getting that camaraderie and connection with his guys, which feels like it's just a constant struggle for them. So it's a frustrating thing, and I just do think that a trade listen, the reporters are saying the Broncos are interested in a trade for a wide receiver because they know what kind of window we're in right now. They have the confidence. We're 5-2. We're at the top of the AFC West, and just because these games have been close, that we've been winning them close, does not diminish the fact that we've won 5 games. We were just talking about earlier this season that there was these frustrations. We had just lost 2 games in a row off of walk-off field goals, and we're like, we're not there yet where we can win a close game. That's been pushed out the door. Now it's about, okay, let's dominate teams. Let's win games from start to finish and leave no chance for the other team to even come back. We have the defense to win a Super Bowl. It's just about the offense picking up the slack. And man, if they do, if they can turn this around and really make this a complete offense, I do think the Broncos have a legitimate shot, because Bo Nix, his mentality is different. It's not a Russell Wilson situation, and that's no shot at Russ, but he just didn't really get along with his teammates like Bo Nix does. You can see you can see defensive players going on the internet and defending Bo Nix. It's a different feeling, it's a different vibe, and so they love each other, they play for each other. That's why they don't give up, and that's why they had the fourth quarter they did against the Giants. And so it should be really interesting to see how this team performs against a high-octane offense like the Cowboys, who have a true number 1 and 2 receiver in CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. It'll be interesting to see how, obviously, Riley Moss goes up against George Pickens, who has been having an incredible season. CeeDee Lamb versus PS2 is going to be cinema. So that'll be interesting. We have the dogs to at least hold the Cowboys down, hopefully under 30. We will see, but yeah, I do think a wide receiver 1 and 2 are key factors to deep playoff runs and potential Super Bowl winning teams. So I am interested to hear what you guys think of this trade proposal. Do you think like a 2nd and 4th rounder would be worth a Chris Olave? What do you think? I mean, because we have that extra 4th rounder that we got from the Saints. So I'm very interested to hear, like, what is too much, what is too little? Is this even something worth exploring? I want to hear in the comments below. And these trade ideas are going to keep coming because the trade deadline is coming, and the Broncos are doing very well this season so far. So typically teams who are in these positions, who are finally trying to take the AFC West back from the Chiefs, they don't want to just like let it happen, like let the Chiefs come back and grab the division from us again. We got to make ourselves as good as possible. Our struggles are clearly on the offense, so how can we make it better? But yeah, let us know in the comments below, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But until the next video, we'll see you then.